that's it. You guys know the drill. Yeah, you're the best. All right, and obviously, like, hit us with a follow if you get a chance to. All right, cool. Hey everyone, Anthony Fantano here, internet's busiest music nerd. I hope you're doing well. And right now we're about to head into an exclusive conversation with the one and only Joey Bada. His newest full-length LP, 2000, is out now. I've been enjoying it. A lot of people in chat have been enjoying it. We're going to be talking about that and anything else that comes up in the conversation. So let's get it started. Joey, thanks for coming through. And, what's the reception for the record been so far? Are you pleased with it?
First off, thanks for having me.
No problem.
Reception on the album has been great. Watch your review video.
Thank you. Thank you.
You have some interesting things to say. You always do. I think the reception has been great. It's been what's the word? It's like been unanimous. My eyes. It's been unanimous that the project is fire. It's a great project. People are loving it. I did what I was supposed to do. It's also been unanimous that there's one song that like most of the people don't like and shit like that. But that's cool. The way that I look at it is like, I had a massive realization with this project, right?
Mm-hmm.
What I realized is it's like going to your favorite restaurant. You know what I'm saying? Matter of fact, fuck that, because I used that analogy in this other interview I did. It's like selling drugs. The rap game is like the crack game.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like I came into this game pushing crack. You know what I'm saying? I was selling crack. You feel me? Mm-hmm. Metaphorically. Yeah, I could just see the Much Dank remixes of this interview already. But I came into this game, you know what I mean, had a certain product. So when you get people hooked on that, you start to build a clientele. Mm-hmm. What I didn't know as I was growing up, through the course of my career, I started out at 17. It's like, I'm an artist in every sense of the word, like at my core, like range and experimentation is something, those are things that are very important to me. You know what I mean? And that has been shown over the course of my career. However, with this album, I kind of like looked at it from that street perspective. It's like, okay, like these people know me for a certain product. You know what I mean? And it's like, not for nothing, that product is the easiest product to cook up. And it's my favorite product. It got me rich. It got me on. It put me in the game. You know what I'm saying? It gave me money, power, respect, however you want to break down the analogy. You know what I'm saying? So especially if you're going to take your work off the block for 5 years, for 5 years, I've had clientele. I have had fiends lined around the block. You know what I'm saying? So this project was me feeding my core. You know what I'm saying? It's like rule number one, never ghost your clientele. You know what I'm saying? I wanted to feed my core. I wanted to show them how much I appreciate them keeping me relevant in my time away. You know what I mean? Which also to me, like, wasn't even really time away because I've never stopped going to the studio over the whole course of 5 years. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, man, this is that main ingredient, you know what I'm saying? This is that main product. That was my whole approach with this project. However, you know what I'm saying? It was a lot of crack in there, but I had to give them a little bit experiment on something. So it's fair if the general consensus don't like that. You know what I'm saying? It's okay. Like, I'm not tripping. It's like going to your favorite restaurant. They bring you 9 fucking sushis on the omakase and only one you didn't like. That's a great fucking restaurant.
Sure.
For them to bring you 8 fucking sushi rolls that were slamming, incredible, and there's only one you don't like, so be it. You know what I mean? And I'm going to keep doing that. I'm going to keep experimenting. You know what I'm saying? There's going to keep being compliments from the chef. You know what I'm saying? I got to do that. I got to provide that. I got to keep expanding the palettes because that's how I'm inviting newer people in. Like, don't get me wrong. My fans might not love that record, but there's a pocket of people who love that record. If you don't like it, it wasn't meant for you. You know what I mean? I don't see Anthony Fantano listening to that shit in his car anyway. So fuck you too, motherfucker.
Well, I mean, to your point, with that track and with your previous records too, I mean, you're always good on every record for 1 or 2 tracks that are maybe a little more pop rap leaning, or maybe there's a trap track in the background, or maybe there's a break beat or something and there's a bit more dance direction or something like that. Like, you know, while I didn't care for the Chris Brown track, like, you know, I kind of expected you to do a little something in that direction at least one or two times, you know what I mean? Because you do that on every record. So, you know, with those continued reactions, like, you know, even if they aren't getting the responses that you want, do you ever feel like a little pigeonholed as a result of that? Like, do you feel like you can only sort of operate in this sort of lane consistently? Would you ever see yourself kind of pushing outside of, you know, the jazz rap and boom bap lane to sort of like, you know, expand even further and kind of challenge your fans even more?
Wait. Say that last part again.
I guess what I'm saying is, like, now that you've kind of had this 10-year run, you know, and you've kind of went from 1999 to 2000, would you ever foresee like a new phase in your career where you kind of just embark on a new sound entirely and kind of challenge your fans in an even bigger way, not just on like maybe a couple tracks here and there?
Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, I'm going to continue to express my range, you know what I mean? However, when I'm looking at it from the standpoint of the marketplace, I just didn't think that it was the right move to come back after 5 years and give them that experimentation. You know what I'm saying? I feel like this was the time for me to kind of reintroduce myself, because this project is a reintroduction to Joey Badass in every way. You know what I'm saying? I'm a completely different person now. It's 10 years later. You know what I mean? I got a whole bunch of people I pulled in from TV and film and all of the other shit that I've been doing just fucking off of being a celebrity or being a face. So now I got to reintroduce them to what got me here, which is, you know what I'm saying, this sound. Like, the way I look at it is brand identity. Like, I used to run away from the fact that people was able to describe me in a sentence. Now I cherish that. Now I champion that, because I realized that's something that's my artistic integrity. That's what separates me from a lot of these artists today. I could just play my lane. You know what I'm saying? I could just be fine in my lane and do that. And that's what's going to make me stand out.
So you see yourself kind of going forward, staying more comfortable with that, or, you know?
Well, to answer your question, like, that's the thing. So no, I'm going to experiment more. Like, I'm going to continue to, you know, push the boundaries. However, I'm never going to fail to give them that original product that they always want and love from me. You know what I'm saying? And that's real raps. That's authentic, real, raw. That's New York energy, however you want to classify that. Like, that will always be present in my music. However, there's going to be times of more exploration and more experimentation and deviating from, you know, what's the perceived sound of choice of Joey Badass. You know what I'm saying?
Let me ask you this. Like, you know, you're talking about what you do is like a product and a thing that you're marketing and a thing that you're pushing. Like, over the years, since you've kind of like had your breakthrough with this sound, like, as the guy who's marketing it and as the guy who's pushing it, how do you see the demand and evolution of this sound moving currently? Because obviously there's been a lot of change and evolution in it since you kind of broke out with 1999. And obviously you're aware of that because you had like West Side Gun on the record. You know what I mean? Like, you're aware of like the waves that Griselda is kind of making in that same lane, and artists who are beyond them, obviously. So, like, you know, over the years, as you've continued to grow in this lane, like, how do you see the demand for this sound moving? Is it as good as it's ever been? Are people asking for different sounds and kind of approaches with it?
Right. I mean, you know, this sound is true to me. So that's first things first. You know what I'm saying? This sound is like in the frequency of my heart. You know what I'm saying? In the frequency of my mind. Like, this is what I could do this in my sleep. But to, like, you know, when I think about your question, it makes me think about the big fish theory. Would you rather be a big fish in a smaller pond or a small fish in an ocean? That's what it comes down to. You know what I'm saying? I'm arguably the biggest fish in this pond. You want to call it the underground, you want to call it hip hop. Like, I opened doors. You know what I'm saying? Like, I paved the way. And not only that, for the people who walked in after me, I cherish and I champion them as well. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what this whole thing is about. It's about inspiring others. It's about leading forward. It's about moving forward. So when I see everybody who's doing it now, yeah, like, you know, I want to be a part of that. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Let's get together. Let's keep contributing to this culture. Like, it's about the bigger picture. You know,
and you know, you've kind of paved the way not just in, you know, in terms of delivering the sound, but also through the mode with which you delivered it, because at that time that you broke through, like that's when you had like this burgeoning underground scene built mostly off the internet. And, you know, with you came like Kendrick and Cole and Odd Future and Danny Brown and, you know, and so on and so forth. Like, you know, kind of looking at the way the internet has changed and streaming has like changed that landscape that you entered into. Like, how do you kind of, you know, assess how things are looking like right now from your perspective? Like, do you think the way that the industry has kind of like gone more digital, gone more online, has it been mostly a positive change, a net negative?
Well, I think change is inevitable,
Yeah.
right? You know what I'm saying? I don't think there's any version of the world or any alternate reality that exists where change is inevitable. So by nature, we have to learn to adapt and evolve and grow. You know what I mean? So that's that. However, when I think about the state of the music industry today, you know, I can't help but think about people like Prince.
Hmm.
You know, when you think about this streaming era, it's like the artist is completely detached from his listener.
Hmm.
You know, these streaming platforms are completely in the way. If your phone dies, you can't listen to music. If your computer dies, you can't listen to music. If for whatever reason, to all my conspiracy theorists out there, there's a fucking massive blackout or some shit, you can't listen to your music. You know what I'm saying? That's some next level shit when you really think about it. These companies are owned by people who could just, I mean, you know, let's fuck with the world. Let's shut down Spotify for a day. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's social experiment. Let's see how much crime rates go up once we fucking remove the access to music. Like, you know, that's the shit that trips me out more than anything. Everything else is you could adapt. You know what I'm saying? Like only the strong is gonna survive. Period.
You know, with that kind of detachment that you described there, how do you personally, if this is even within your control, do you think, like, how do you personally put in the effort that you do to stay connected to your fans and make sure that, you know, you've got some kind of like one-way or two-way street going with them so they're aware of what you're doing?
Well, first of all, I make the experiences everything.
Mm-hmm.
I put my all into each and every experience, especially when I see people on the street. You know what I'm saying? Because you like I always show everybody love because you never know where somebody was in their life, like when they heard your music for the first time, and like how it affected them and stuff like that. You know, I'm not sure if that answers your question, but
No, I mean, you know, it's there. Let me ask you about for a second, just 1999 in general, because I feel like with each passing year, while there was a lot of debate on that project, and you know, like the feelings on it were mostly positive when it dropped, obviously. While there was a lot of debate about it when it dropped, it seems like with each passing year, it like becomes more and more just like viewed as a classic and one of the best tapes of the 2010s. You know, one of the best certainly at the start of the decade. Like, how do you personally feel like the project has aged over the years? Like, you know, is there anything on it that you listen back to and, you know, you regret or you rethink, or are you like, you know, just really happy with how it's kind of, you know, looked over the years?
I don't regret a single thing about that project. You know, I think it has aged beautifully like wine over time, you know what I'm saying? And I just got off a tour. You know, I did a 1999-2000 tour. It was like in honor of 1999, the 10-year anniversary, and then, you know, doing new music as well. And it was interesting to me because I saw a lot of young fans. You know, it was kids there who were, you know, I've been doing this for 10 years. Right. So a lot of my fans initially, I grew up with. You know what I'm saying? Like they come into the shows, they're 17 just like me. They're looking up to me, or they're like maybe a year or 2 years older, and like we growing up as the years go by. But this, for the first time, I saw the generational effect of the music. Because, you know, I'm talking to kids at the meet and greet. He like, yeah, I'm 21. Like when 1999 came out, I was 11. And I'm like, what? Like, that's blowing my mind. You know what I'm saying? So that just goes to show how much that project is standing the test of time. Is like people are getting introduced to that project for the first time every day. And that's the beautiful thing about music. You know what I'm saying? So when you got a project like that, I mean, it's an honor, you know, it's a blessing. And I feel that way about all my projects. But the special thing with 99 is how nostalgic it feels for everybody. And I'm saying, like, it is literally the sound of an era and time. And that's hard to duplicate. You know what I mean? It's like if that moment was alignment.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? It's not to say that I won't make music better than that, or I haven't already made music better than that, which I believe I've made a lot of music better than that.
Sure.
But it just the way it hit at that time, because of where we were in the world, in life. You hadn't seen a 17-year-old from New York with this sound in fucking years. It was like, what the fuck? I didn't even know this pocket existed. Like we literally introduced the culture. We opened the door. So that shit hit different.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And it's like people be wanting me to emulate that. And it's like, I can't emulate a moment in time. You know what I'm saying? I can only continue to make great music.
Right. No, for sure. Like a lot of what you were doing at that time was influenced by the amount of experience you had at that time and your age, you know?
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
And, you know, I mean, I guess like a couple of questions off of that. Like, you know, from what you're observing right now in New York, like, you know, 17-year-olds, do you feel like there are others who are kind of like trying to carry the torch, or do you feel like that's being kind of, or the opportunity for that is kind of like being sopped up by the drill scene or something else?
Elaborate on that a little bit more.
I guess what I'm saying, it's like, you know, do you foresee, you know, a similar kind of a generational thing happening this decade as well, where you have, you know, people who were around the age that you were when you broke out with 1999, championing a similar sound or a certain like authenticity or a certain like, you know, I guess attention to detail when it comes to lyrical quality, or, you know, is it kind of like taking shape in terms of the trends that are kind of predominant at the moment?
I think hell yeah, you know, because that immediately makes me think of Pop Smoke.
Sure.
And you know, I think it was incredible what he was able to do in that short amount of time. You know what I mean? The impact he was able to make, as much music that he was making, you know what I mean? And of course it was an untimely, unfortunate demise, but it's like, I think that will forever be a part of the culture. You know what I'm saying? Out of every generation, there's going to be a few cats who's going to stand the test of time. You know what I'm saying? And the sounds in the pockets are definitely evolving. I'm never really listening to drill music. Like I like Pop Smoke, I like 5e. There's a few drill songs I've heard that I like, but like I'm not the guy who's like playing drill music in the car. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm just not me. Like I definitely feel my age when it comes to that. You know what I'm saying? However, it's like I'm not one to downplay anybody in what pocket they're choosing for their expression. You know what I'm saying? So I just show love. And like when it comes to the young cats, I got a lot of empathy for them because I was very young when I came into this game. And I remember what it felt like to not know what the fuck I was doing. You know what I'm saying? Not know how to go about shit, not know how to communicate, not know how to network, not know how to fucking prevent bridges from burning, all types of shit. So it's like with them, I kind of give them space and time.
No, I get that. You know, another artist who, as you were kind of mentioning, Pop Smoke, had like a similarly like revolutionary magnetism about him, how he kind of attracted people and attracted attention, was someone who you collaborated with and even mentioned on this record, XXX Tentacion, who, you know, you pretty much like say in your verse, or you pretty much like illustrate the fact that like, that at least in your own opinion, you see him as like kind of a misunderstood guy, because there's like a whole lot of polarizing opinions about him across the board. Like, what do you feel like you knew or you get about him or you got about him personally that other people don't, that maybe would shed a different light on him if they knew or understood in the way that you do?
He was incredibly humble, in my opinion. You know what I'm saying? Like, he was just one of those kids. And it's like, I remember growing up, like, we would classify ourselves as indigo children. And I identified those same qualities in him. You know what I'm saying? Like, there was a lot of similarities. We were also both Aquarius. You know what I'm saying? Like, he was a big fan of my music. We spent a lot of time just talking ideals. And it's like, you know, when you hang out with a person a few times, have a few conversations, you're able to make your own like opinion or like, you know, judgment on them. And but it was even furthermore confirmed when I actually met him in person and we hung out that day. I went by his house and he played me the album and, you know, he told me a whole bunch of shit that was going on in his head. And it's like, bro, I just saw a kid. You know what I'm saying? It's a fucking kid. It's just like any one of us, like, troubled kid, fighting his demons. And that's what made him so special.
Let me ask you about something that you said in your verse about him, because you kind of gave him like a bit of criticism, about like his own music, and he kind of like took it in a constructive way when he could have had like the opposite reaction. What do you feel about your own growth and ability to do that over the years? Because obviously you came into the game at a very young age where, not everybody is like automatically built or automatically, knowing how to do that off the bat. But, obviously like you've come to a point where, you're here, you're talking to me, you see what your fans say about the record, songs they love, songs they don't like, it seems like no matter what happens, like you take it, maturely, so it's like, has that always been the case? Has that been something you really needed to kind of work to get to?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like, I remember being younger and being way more vocal emotionally. You know what I'm saying? You see, the thing is, growing up, you're young, especially when you're young and you're black, like you have no type of perception on dealing with emotions. You know what I'm saying? Like you don't even resonate that angry or frustrated or mad as our fucking emotions. You know what I'm saying? So it's just a lot of growth that you have to allow time for. And I like experienced all this shit firsthand because I look at me today compared to me from before, and it's just a lot of growth. There's a lot of changes. There's a lot of phases of understanding that I went through. Just emotional intelligence alone, understanding how to read the room, understanding how to identify my own emotions, how they will be affecting other people. So I say all of that to say, with that desire to wanting to learn and that desire of being more self-aware is definitely that's what I used to mature me over the years. But it wasn't always this silky smooth, you know what I mean? Before, I remember times when I was younger, a lot of shit that I would say on Twitter would just have me in unnecessary shit. You know what I mean? And I didn't understand the range of my word. You know what I'm saying? I didn't know that it mattered that much. Like I literally was just in high school a couple months ago, and now the world is paying attention to me. You know what I'm saying? So that's definitely a thing that comes with age and time. Like, you see, I didn't have this shit figured out when I came in. Well, I was really just with my homies and we was doing what we loved and we was trying to get better every day at our skill. But I had this shit figured out, like on a mature level, my career would have went very different. But I was winging it the whole, you know what I'm saying, the whole fucking way because I had to learn. I was a kid. You know what I'm saying? I was a fucking kid.
I mean, since you mentioned it, like what's one of those things that you think would have panned out differently if you had the knowledge to either not make that mistake or not say that thing or maybe approach a certain choice differently?
Well, it's interesting, right? Because I say that, right? Yeah, like had I would have known this, things would have been different. However, what I really should be saying is, had I would have experienced this, things would have been different. And I say that because still such a big part of the whole story of Joey Badass is the trauma. I lost my best friend my first year into this shit. After that, I didn't give a fuck. I didn't want to do any, like, I was fucking depressed. You know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't know which way I wanted to go. And then 2 years later, I lost my cousin. You know what I mean? So I could sit here and say, like, yeah, I would have definitely been more prepared. I feel like my output would have been different. I felt like the capitalization, you know what I'm saying, owning the moments would have been different. You know what I mean? I would have doubled down on way more opportunities, which is probably attributed to me being bigger. However, I'm not sure the way that would apply still because of the trauma that was involved in my life and on my journey, on my path.
I mean, since you mentioned it, obviously, the passing of Steez and his connection to you and Proera has been obviously a deep part of your lore for a very long time. It has been something that fans have discussed back and forth for years and years and years and years. What exactly put you in a position to feel like, you know, to finally have like the perspective and the guts and the wherewithal to like talk about it in the depth that you did on the record? You know, was it the fact that it was like just 10 years later and just all this buildup, or was it something else?
It was a combination of things, you know. It definitely wasn't a single thing. Like I didn't wake up one day and be like, yo, I gotta talk about this on the record. It just kind of happened. Like I didn't even know that I wanted to talk about it on the record until it was happening. You know, it started with just how a lot of songs happen for me is like an idea comes in my mind, like in my mind's eye. So I was in the shower and I
Where all the best ideas happen.
right, you know what I'm saying? So I'm in there and this line came to me because off of this conversation that I was having, and I was just thinking about the fact of how being rich, famous, and successful, like how they have attributed to spoiling you. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's where the line came, now I'm rich and rotten, in that song. And that one rhyme was the catalyst for the whole shit, because I took that out the shower and then I went in the basement and I just kind of started walking around pacing. And then the first line became Steezy told me to get him, so I got him. Like that was the next thing that jumped in my head. So then I found a way to connect those two lines, and it became me just opening up about that situation. Like it just happened like that. And it was like I didn't write that song. I recited that song. Like I was literally speaking to myself, pacing around. You know, this is the pandemic. You know, I mean, first time in my adult life where I had 6 months to sit in one place. So I had like, you know what I mean? I was in an interesting state of mind, and it just kind of came out of me. You know what I mean? And yeah, bro, it was deeply, deeply therapeutic.
Was it also, you know, without like getting too dicey about it, like obviously you mentioned some of the contention there, obviously like with fans and family and so on and so forth. Did putting this track out and being honest about that stuff, did that also open up wounds that maybe had been closing for a little while?
If they did, I'm not aware of it. You know what I'm saying? If they did, I am not aware of it. But you know, I stand firm in knowing that I'm speaking my truth. You know what I mean? And for that, for me, that feeling is deeply therapeutic. Like I feel weight lifted off of my shoulders. Cause like I said, man, I didn't know that I had to make that song. I was ever gonna make that song. Like I didn't even think about it like it was a song thing. I thought about it as a real issue in my life that deeply troubled me. You know what I mean? And it just happened to come up in my expression through music. Cause another example of turning pain into power.
You know, I wanted to ask you because I think with you saying this kind of is an important kind of topic, especially because of how relevant it is lately, and I think you could have a unique perspective on this. But like, obviously, in the build up to this interview, a lot of the messages that I got was like, oh, ask him if like King Capital's coming out, or ask him if there's going to be a bunch of Stilo verses on his record or a song, or so on and so forth. And you know, I'm thinking of that in light of all of these like very exploitative posthumous records that have like come out and have been like rushed out and are obviously like not reflective of the artist's work and so on and so forth. Like when it comes to that sort of thing, like, you know, in regards to Steez, like, you know, and you're thinking of that and you're thinking of like, you know, fans demanding that sort of thing. And obviously it may be completely out of your control, but just in your own personal opinion, is that sort of the thing that you think like, oh, we need to get like the gas going on this, like the fans deserve this? Or do you yourself sort of see at this point, like releasing such a project as being almost like disrespectful to his memory and just like exploiting the kind of situation around the demand for his music because of his passing?
Listen, bro. When I tell you there's nobody who wants that music out more than me, there is no one. There is no one who has done as much work as I've done to get that out. And I'm just going to leave it at that.
Okay.
I'm just going to leave it at that.
So, you know, generally what would you say right now is like the current state of proera? at the moment, because obviously like some people have brought up the fact that like, there wasn't a whole lot of members on the new record and so on and so forth. And not that, that's a requirement or anything, because, it's you've had your own records in the past where there wasn't a whole lot of support in that sense either. But, still, like, is there any potential for like a collaborative project or a group project on the way in the future? Or is there any like, kind of connection there still to make that happen?
Before I answer that, I actually want to go back on the other question, because I want to make sure I'm super clear, because the internet these days needs clarity in fucking bunches.
Absolutely.
Plus, it's just too much room for fucking interpretation. So it's like, listen, yes, I said what I said. I've done so much to try to get the project out, right? It's not in my hands. I don't own Steez's music.
Yeah.
Steez was never signed to me as an artist, and that was never the plan.
Yeah.
So that was never my intention. You know what I mean? I tried to help the family get the music out years ago. You know what I mean? I was going to put it out through proera ventures that I had going, and the split was 90%, 10%. I wanted to keep that 10%, not for profit, but because I had to hire staffs. I had to hire people to help me get things done. You got to clear samples. You got to do all of that stuff. So that was me trying to provide a safety net for myself. So I'm not taking a loss. You know what I mean? But 90% go all to the family. Like, that was the agreement. That got lost and convoluted somewhere. And since then, I've backed off, because I gave them the music and I said, yo, y'all don't got to do this with me. Like, I just thought that is what y'all want to do. You know what I'm saying? Like, I thought, you guys could trust me. Like, I'm home team. You feel me? Like, let nobody go and fight for y'all like how I'm gonna fight for y'all. I'm gonna get the best situation. You know what I'm saying? But cool. If y'all don't want me to be that guy, then I won't be that guy. Here's the music, and let me know whatever help y'all need. Y'all need to be introduced to certain people, whatever. I will set that shit up. You know what I'm saying? But it's like, I got a lot of sympathy, empathy, love, and respect for his family to this day, because I know them. You know what I'm saying? They are like, and especially like, with his mom's, like his mom's is an older generation Jamaican lady. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, they don't vibe with the internet shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, they don't like, that's not part of their culture. Like, all of this shit, this music industry shit, like this is some fucking devil shit to them. You know what I'm saying? Like, they don't want nothing to really do with this. So it's like, I understand that, but it's like the perception is so jaded, and it's like, nobody is fighting for me. And that's cool. I'm a grown ass man. I'll stand on my own too. I'll take whatever to the chin. I've been taking it for fucking years. I've been taking all of the darts, all of the spears, yet I'm the one putting in the highest amount of contribution to try to make everything right. You know what I'm saying? So that's what it is. It's like, yo, I can't put out King Capital. If I could have put out King Capital, I would have put it out years ago. Like, Are you fucking insane? Like, what the fuck do I get out of holding on to it? What do I get? If I could have been in control of Steez's estate, I would have put out King Capital, American Corruption Reloaded. The whole thing would have been on streaming platforms. Like, yo, my man is not even in the marketplace. That kills me every day, because I know how much fucking money is being missed out on. That should be going to his family's hands. Like, it's his legacy. People are bootlegging shit, making money off of his back. That should be going to the fan. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, bro, I think about that shit often. It's like, yo, the fact that I can't even, like, again, back to the streaming world. You know what I'm saying? If this shit shut out, I got no way to listen to my man's music.
Right.
No fucking way. So yeah, man, like, that's that. That hopefully that answered every question for everybody out there. You know what I'm saying? It's like, yo, I don't care though. You know what I'm saying? Like, motherfuckers could think whatever, because motherfuckers don't know me. Motherfuckers never met me, never sat down, had a conversation with me. They don't even know who I am. So it's like, how could you judge a person you don't even know? You know what I'm saying? How could you assume things about a person you don't even know?
Well, I appreciate the extra clarity.
Yeah, no doubt. I feel like it was necessary. But back to your question, when it comes, as it involves the pros or 2000, originally I thought that I was like, if I'm gonna call it 2000, I gotta have the pros on this shit. You know what I'm saying? Like I was fighting against like we was having a team meeting and everybody was kind of like 2000 is it, and I was kind of leaning more to this other title that I won't share. It doesn't matter now. But and I was in my argument with 2000 was the fact that I had all of. Can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Now, because I was getting a call in.
Okay.
My only argument against 2000 was, there was no pros on all of this music that I already had geared for that project. But all in all, I thought about it. I was like, okay, like I want to do a cypher track. You know what I mean? I want to at least do that. We can get everybody on the joint. But then, when I really thought about it, like it didn't feel natural. It didn't feel like it was gonna happen organically the way I would have wanted it to happen and feel the way it's always happened historically. And I felt like if I wasn't gonna get that, then like it wasn't gonna be worth it. I was also in a race against time. You know what I mean? So I really couldn't wait around to try to assemble, 8 people who's in different places and spaces in their life now.
Right.
To, you know what I'm saying? Get on one song and then, that's different studios. That's fucking different microphones. That's, you know what I mean? Like it was a whole bunch of conflict. But what I will say is there's a Proera album that will be coming out.
Okay.
Fans could definitely look forward to that. Like, yeah, over the years, there's been a lot of music that we've created that are classics in our minds, music we are attached to emotionally, spiritually, and we're still making music together. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm still cool with every one of my pros. Even if we had a problem, it's breezed over now. Like we all good. You know what I'm saying? Like even when it came to the label shit, I let everybody out of their deals. Let everybody walk. You know what I mean? Like whatever. It's neither here nor there. But yeah, I let everybody walk. You know what I'm saying? It was just we moved on, but we're good. Like there's no, like, yeah, the morale is not as strong as it used was. The chemistry is not as strong anymore because, we used to hang out every day.
Right.
We used to all be in the same place every day. Now we're grown ass men. You know what I mean? Like shit, like, we got kids now. Motherfuckers got kids. The fuck? We ain't got time to be, you know what I'm saying? Like shit is different. Like when fans be saying certain shit, it's like, are y'all motherfuckers even living life?
Right.
Like, what the fuck are y'all doing? Y'all looking at y'all computer screens all day? Like, this shit is not a fucking game. This shit is not a movie. You can't just, you know what I'm saying? You can't repeat moments in time, bro.
Right. Anybody who's asking that, are you where you were 10 years ago, essentially? Is kind of the question. Well, no, I'm saying like, is anybody who would ask you that question, are they where they were 10 years ago? Like everybody in Proera is in a far different place 10 years later. Exactly. That has to be the case for everybody who's been like sort of waiting for that.
Exactly. Like even with the Chris Brown thing, like I think it's so weird. Like, bro, I think it's pretty clear that I don't promote or condone domestic violence in any type of way. Whenever I ever perpetuated that. But it's like that shit happened 14 years ago? 14 fucking years ago. And it's like y'all still, you know what I'm saying? The victim, you know what I'm saying, Rihanna herself, they're friends now. You know what I'm saying? They got over it. Like things happen. People make mistakes. You know what I'm saying? People are not perfect. It doesn't mean that you don't fucking, shake them up about it and hold them accountable to it. Yeah, you fucking hold them motherfuckers accountable, but that don't mean that they're not allowed to grow. You know what I'm saying? Like that don't mean that anybody who fuck with them now is a fucking perpetrator of domestic violence. Like what?
Well,
a lot of your rappers perpetrate fucking murder.
That's a fair point.
Violence. So it's like, okay, so what about y'all who listen to that shit faithfully? So y'all all killers? I know y'all ain't all killers. Most of y'all fucking rappers who y'all think is killers ain't even fucking killers. So it's like, what are we talking about? You know what I mean? I'm getting fired up. I'm not even mad for real. I'm not mad. I'm just passionate.
That's fine.
I'm just passionate. Like, I love this because I can't see what the fuck they saying, so I don't give a fuck.
Nothing super strong right now. All right, let me ask you about one of the samples on the LP that stuck out to me, which was on the song Show Me. You grabbed that like Men I Trust sample on that. Was that like a track that you ran across and like kind of stopped you and grabbed your attention? And, I don't know. just kind of like put you in a position where you felt like you needed to sample it, or did that come to you by way of a beat, or?
Bro, when I tell you it was instantaneously, right away. Soon as I fucking heard them chords, I saw it on the TikTok. You know, a homegirl of mine, she was sitting next to me. She's going through her TikToks, and boom, I heard it. I said, yo, what the fuck was that? And I looked it up, listened to the song. Bro, I must have played that song that whole day. Right after that, I sent it to, I believe, Static, and I sent it to Chuck. And I was like, yo, y'all need to flip this. Chuck had flipped it too. He made a rendition, but Statics was just hitting different. You know what I'm saying? And we went with that, you know? So that's how that happened. And I'm actually like a big fan of the group now from there, because that song has put me on, and I started diving into their catalog a little bit after that. And they got a pretty interesting discography. You know what I mean? They're super cool. And when we reached out to them to clear the sample, like they were pretty stoked, you know? And I thought that was dope, because they said they made the song with the intention of like a hip hop vibe. Like they purposely gave it a kind of like tempo and BPM that could be implemented into hip hop. And I thought that was dope, because I'm like, well, shit, I picked it right up. Here we go. I'm the first one with it. We the first one out the door. You know what I'm saying?
Are there any other groups from like the indie set that I don't know, you listen to casually or find yourself stumbling upon?
I don't know how to say their name, but I'm gonna just say Karugabin.
Oh, okay, yeah. No,
Yeah,
I've reviewed their stuff before. I forget the exact pronunciation, but everybody knows who you're talking about. Yeah. No, they have a lot of jammy guitar stuff.
Yeah, I like this shit. I like Salt.
Okay, yeah, Salt's good.
I was vibing with Salt a lot through the pandemic. Steve Lacy.
Yeah, his new record's good.
What's my man, Mac DeMarco? Yeah, you know, Tame, of course.
Tame. Everybody's in the Tame.
Yeah, everybody's in the Tame. It's like it's almost lame to say it.
All right, let me switch lanes really quick before I have to send you off. I appreciate you giving me the time. I also wanted to ask you just about some of your acting ventures, because obviously between Mr. Robot, Grownish, Beauty as well. You know, you recently landed a role there too. Are there any other like acting gigs that you're looking at on the horizon, that you're trying to get yourself into, like in the next couple of years?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I just booked a new role, this project. I'm not sure how much I could speak about it, so I won't reveal too much, but it's a new movie that I'm really excited about because of the characters who's involved, some very legendary actors who I've always looked up to, so I'm happy to be part of that. Raising Kanan is coming back this Sunday.
Okay.
Actually, I'm heavy in that. You should check that out if you haven't gotten a chance yet. I would love to know what you think about it. Yeah, and I look forward to the future in TV and film. However, like I'm in no rush, because TV and film really requires a lot. And I don't think people understand that. Like it's actually more demanding than music, at least how I find it. You know what I mean? Because think about it, especially if you're the lead character, you have to devote yourself from Monday through Friday, from about 7 a.m. to 10 p.m., Monday through Friday for about 5 months. And I ain't got that type of time. You know what I'm saying? Like that's completely neglecting Joey. I would have no Joey time. I'm just in character, so I'm definitely taking gradual steps. I think I've been pretty blessed and aligned with the roles that I have been able to land so far, because they haven't required too much out of me, yet they've been pivotal enough to make an impact, you know what I'm saying, and to be seen. So yeah, man, I look forward to it. As far as music versus acting, like the music is always like my firstborn, you know what I'm saying? Well, not my firstborn, but like music is my first love, you know what I'm saying? So I feel like my love for that is not dwindling anytime soon, especially after putting out 2000. Like I actually feel way more engaged and inspired to put out music more consistently. You know what I mean? Like I'm dropping a song at the end of this month, a new song.
Okay, great.
Just a little.
Yeah, you know, a lot of the questions have been like, oh, is it going to be another 5 years, the next project? But you know, you're saying that you're going to try to strike while the iron's hot and jump right back into it.
Yeah, man. You know, I'm motivated. I'm motivated. Like, I'm ready to put numbers on the board. You know what I'm saying? Like, I sat out for 5 years and I really hibernated. You know what I mean? So I got a lot of stock. I got a lot in stock. A lot that I want to share. Just waiting for the right times and opportunities to introduce new pockets. You know what I'm saying? Introduce new sounds. Introduce like new experiments and stuff like that. But yeah, I'm definitely focused to be in a more consistent output flow.
Okay, well, awesome. I mean, we're all looking forward to it, and we'll, you know, look forward to that new song you're dropping toward the end of the month. Joey, I appreciate you coming through, being an open book, being a great guest, being forward with everything, being passionate,
Yes,
being
sir.
fucking upfront, being commendable, being energetic, and you know, again, just giving us your time and your perspective.
Thank you for giving me a platform, man. And I've been a fan for years. You know what I'm saying? I think what you
Thank you.
do is
Thank you.
great.
Thank you.
Keep pissing people off. You know what I
That's
mean?
what I do.
It is your fucking calling, dude. It's your fucking calling. So you take that shit by the fucking nuts and you keep going, you know? And by the way, can I ask you a question?
Yes, you can ask me a question.
Did Survivor's Guild make you cry?
Yeah, yeah. No, it did.
And let me ask you another question.
What?
What was the last album that made you cry?
That's a good question.
Okay, now listen, don't answer that because
Okay.
you can't answer it quickly.
I'm not answering.
So you gave my album a 7 and that shit made you cry, motherfucker?
You know, that's your album's not even the
I
only
should
album.
get extra points just for making you fucking cry on a live.
There's another album that made me cry, and I gave it a 7 too.
Which one was that?
That was I think Anderson Paak's Oxnard, or the one before that. It was like the last track.
If you drop Waterworks, man, that's extra points, B. Like, you got to think about it. Like, yo, music is all about feeling something.
It's
bro.
true. It's true.
How much music you putting on and you really feeling something?
It's
You
true.
really to that. That's so
Hey,
purpose.
listen. There's only listen.
give me a-
Regardless of a number, the amount of artists who've like made me cry on camera probably count on one fucking hand. So you can count yourself amongst the chosen few. Okay.
Listen, top 2 and I'm not 2. That's all I'm saying, man. Put some respect on my name. Yo, thank you for having me, bro. It's been a pleasure. Love.
Hey, thank you very much, man. Have a good one.
You too, man.